super, 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 super excited to be here, and thank you for coming. Yeah, so as she said, as Julie said, that I have two businesses right now. So, and today I really want to share some of the things that I have learned in running my businesses about how to do more in less time and also to have some fun in the process. So I want to tell you about my journey and what I have learned. So a little bit about me before we dive deep. I have two little ones. This picture is of them is from few years ago. They're older now. They come here for Genius Talks all the time. Some of you may have seen them. They're learning to be their own business people. Like yesterday, my daughter was trying to record a video, like YouTube video of her doing some experiments. I'm like, oh my God, she's gonna have her own YouTube channel pretty soon. But the reason I put their picture here is because these guys are the ones who have really inspired me to have more fun in my life, to actually live every moment of my life with joy and pleasure. And yeah, so, and then I have a really, as we said, I have two businesses. And other than that, I also love a lot of stuff. I like to travel, I like to hang out with my friends and dance and many, many other things. So how do I do it all, right? Yeah, it's pretty crazy. My life can look like a chaos sometimes, but only I know that I'm really having fun. I'm really enjoying every minute of it. There are some people who have said, well, you got to just have one business. It's like, when I can have two kids, I can have two businesses. I'm just going to do it because I love them. I love both of them. I love both my kids and I love both my businesses. So we shall see how it goes. But the biggest journey for me has been to learn to find passion, purpose, and pleasure in everything I do. So for me right now, business and life is not separate. It is together. It's intermingled. It's not. So back in the day, it used to be. Do you guys remember those days when you went to work, you had your job from 9 to 5, and you came home and you forgot all about your work? Who remembers that? I do. Yeah? That's good that some of you have never experienced that. That's wonderful. So right now, I feel like the paradigm is really shifting. And the paradigm is becoming, the new paradigm is not about separating work from life, but actually having passion in what you do. So it's all together. It's not that the work exhausts you, the work gives you energy. That's what I want to bring to you. How you can be working, doing your business, creating what you're creating, and still feel energized by it. Not like feeling duh. So are you guys ready for that? Yeah? Yeah, that little boy is ready for it. He's clapped. So, how many of you been up there? I know I have. Totally exhausted, not wanting to get like sleepless and all of that. But what I really want is this. Pretty much all the time. And that is my journey of how, because of course, when we are running our businesses and we have our life, there is those ups and downs, right? How you can bring your state from that down state into the up state. That's what I would love to bring to you guys today. So let me ask you this. So this is just some of the things we have been conditioned with that I put here. How many of you have been told that business is serious stuff and it needs hard work? Yeah? So it was put so much into my head by my family or the people I saw that for literally 25 years, I worked for other people. I did not even have the courage to start my own business because I was scared of failure. I was just conditioned that way. So it has taken me even extra work to break those barriers in my own mind, to break that conditioning that was put into my head. So I come from India, that's my background. And in India, like my parents grew up right after India had gotten independence. And that was a period of scarcity. So my parents had the tendency to really, my dad worked in the same job for 40 years and he retired. So he used to have that 9 to 5, or not even 9 to 5, like 10 to 5. He would go to work, come back, and forget all about work. So that was the paradigm that I was brought up with. So it is something, it has taken me effort to find what is it that I am passionate about. What is it that I want to create in the world? How is it that I can have joy and pleasure in every moment? So anybody here wants to share what is your conditioning? Is there anything that has been into your upbringing or into your conditioning that has held you back?
I'm from the UK, and in the UK, you're brought up to believe that you're going to get a job, you're going to have 2 kids, you're going to have a nice car, and you're going to drive to the office every day, you're going to do the grocery shopping, you're going to do the dance classes, you're going to do all of those things. That's what life is. And you're probably going to do it within 10 miles of where you were born. That's the kind of conditioning I think I grew up with. And I'm happy to say that I'm not 10 miles away from where I was born.
Thank you for sharing that, Faye. I knew about the American dream. I didn't know the same dream existed in, in Scotland. Anybody else?
I'm from Indonesia, and it's so different from the UK, especially if you're born a girl, that you don't need to work hard, just find a husband. So once you were born, just do mediocre stuff, and then you're successful if you find a husband. And I'm thankful that I'm not married.
That resonates so much because I was brought up with also that conditioning of that I'm a girl and my purpose in life. So that was put into my head that my purpose in life is to serve my husband and his family and to have children. So if that has been drilled into you since you're a kid, like these things, how do you actually find what is your real purpose? What is it that you're creating in the world? So for me, that has been an amazing journey to learn about myself. So anybody else? So
I'm from Colombia, Latin America, and we have learned all the time that we have to work pretty hard to get everything, and we never learn how to enjoy it. So it's like work hard and that's it.
thank you for sharing that. It's really interesting. We're all from so many different countries here, right? And we all have very similar story of, you're supposed to work really hard. Life is not meant to be fun. Life is meant to be hard, right? And it's not meant to be hard. It is actually meant to be fun. We came on this planet for a very limited amount of time, and that time is, of course, we want to create what we want to create in the world, but it is not meant to live in stress or fear or guilt or any of those things. We are meant to really be in the higher vibration. And that is why I'm so passionate about it, to share that with you. So what if you could get the same results instead of working 80-hours in a week, just 40 hours or 30 hours or maybe 20 hours, you could get the same results? What if you could actually, what I was talking about earlier, integrate your life and business so beautifully with each other that you're actually having fun? You're having pleasure in running your business. You're not stressed out about it. You're not feeling guilty for having fun. How many of you feel guilty when you have fun? That's good. Everybody has worked on themselves here. That's perfect. Not many people. But we do feel guilty. That is one of our conditioning. And I have been working on that a lot, to not feel guilty while having fun. And that's my two little ones. They have really taught me that. So what happens when we are not having fun, or sometimes even when we are having fun, we get into business blues. Who here has not ever gotten into business blues? Never? Yes. Absolutely. It happens with me even though I'm talking about it. The only reason I'm talking about it is because I have been there. I've dealt with this business blues a lot, where I'm like, maybe I need to just leave it all and just go back to to my job. I was earning a lot of money. Or maybe it's like, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? Like all those fears come up. So running a business is continuously about dealing with those fears that come up, right? Dealing with that guilt of when we are not doing what we should be doing, but we're doing what we want to do. So, how do we get out of these business blues? We're going to go into those later, but the first thing that I want to share is, this is like the Socrates, know thyself. This is where everything begins. The more we know about what we want, what is our purpose? What is your purpose? What is it that you're passionate about? What is it that makes you excited about your day? What is it that gives you energy? The more you learn about yourself, the easier it gets. Yeah? Agree? So to me, that is my biggest secret. The reason I put this here is because for the longest time in my life, I was running my life to please other people. Whether it was my dad, who really wanted me to be an engineer. So I didn't even have a chance to figure out, even as a kid, what is it that I really like to do. I actually want to cry when I say that, because it's my kids who are teaching me how to, like, they're bringing me back to being a kid. And they're teaching me, yeah, dancing is fun, mama. Singing is fun. Creating is fun. Like, so that is what, and when I have that creative energy flowing in me, I realize what a creative person I am. But that was completely dead inside me. So this is really, it's been a journey for myself to know who I am. What gives me, like when I wake up in the morning, so the other day, just have to share this story. It was a Friday. So how many of us, when you've been in jobs, we say, thank God it's Friday, right? We are ready for the weekend. For me, it doesn't really matter anymore. I woke up, I was so excited about creating what I wanted to create that day. I brought my laptop out and I just got right to work. There was nothing like, this is what I'm gonna do today, or it doesn't matter which day of the week it is anymore for me. On a Sunday, I might be really inspired to create something, or on, it could be whenever the inspiration hits, I write it down and I create what I need to create. Making sense? So anybody wants to share what do you do? I mean, you guys have all been working on yourself, I'm imagining. What have you found about yourself? What is your passion? What is your purpose? Anybody feel like sharing? Where is our mic?
Ada yang bisa nyariin?
Anybody?
Come on.
Diving, yeah. And that is your business. Yeah, thank you, Faye. Yeah. And somebody said this to me the other day, somebody else who is in a diving business. That person said, I used to love diving, but ever since it became my business, I don't love it so much. And that was a little heartbreaking, because when you convert your passion into your business, it should still remain fun. So maybe that person started to do things to run the business that was not giving them pleasure, right? Because and those are some of the things that I want to talk about as we go next. So talking about purpose, here is what we're going to do. We're going to get to know each other a little bit. So go ahead and find a partner, and you're going to share the purpose. Either it could be purpose of your life or purpose of your business. It doesn't matter. Just share what is it. So share your purpose, your motivation, whatever that could be, and share your one value that drives you. So find a person, find a partner. Make some new friends.
So maybe the three of you can share thoughts. On this side. Yeah. Yeah. Should you join? Yeah, awesome.
Sorry, this got serious thing over there.
Just doing an exercise. So I'm going to share what is your purpose and what value. Yeah, just share it. So if one person has done sharing, the other person may begin. So when you're done sharing,
Hanya sebagian aja yang sempat aku datengin tadi.
I know there's so much fun stuff to talk about, but we have to start making progress. Is everybody done? Not yet. So 1 more minute, guys. 1 more minute.
So, excuse me, can I have the registration board? Thank you. Ini siapa tahu bisa salah satu ada staff yang di sini bisa ngebagiin ini untuk jalan. Ini dijalanin aja. Terus misalnya nanti name tag-nya dikasih bagi.
Actually,
Yes.
can you give us this paper? Maybe, yeah, in 2 minutes we're going to do another exercise where they write down.
Okay. So everyone has
Just one
one
paper and one
papers and one pen, yeah?
So we're going to have some time later to chat. Let's start. Go to the next step. So everybody has their purpose figured out? Yes? Everybody has shared it? I know, it's so much fun to talk. I love it. So there's one action that I want to talk about, and that's something you can do for yourself anytime. You see, we have a tendency to fill our day with things that are not aligned with our purpose and our values. So what I want you to do is, when you're designing your day, or when you're thinking about what you're going to do in your day, really think about, like, of course, we all want to check Facebook and Instagram and all of that. But if you're spending more than 20 minutes on anything, ask yourself this question: is this serving a core value of mine? So I've given examples of my own values here. I like to spend time with my kids. I like to spend time on learning and growth for myself. I like freedom. So freedom means just, it could be financial freedom or freedom to travel. So that's why the businesses are there. So I have that freedom. I want to make a difference in the world, and my businesses are very much aligned to those values. And I want to have some fun, some joy and pleasure in my life. And that's all. So everything I do, that's what I have noticed, that it's really aligned to this. But here is what was happening to me. With the volcano scare, I realized how much of my brain cycle was going to tracking the status of Agung. Was it happening to you guys as well? Yeah. And I had to really become very conscious of that. That why am I spending so much time? Because it was creating stress and fear. Because it's going to blow up when it's going to blow up. It's not in our control. So what's the point of spending freaking hours analyzing it? But I was doing it. I'm totally, absolutely guilty of that. Exactly. Yep, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, so it's really important to be mindful of where you're spending your time and whether it is aligned to your purpose and values or not. So please feel free to stop me at any time if you have any questions. Otherwise, I'm going to keep going. So the next thing I want to talk about is passion, of course. What is, when you wake up, what are you feeling excited about? Like Faye said, she's feeling excited about diving. I feel so excited when I teach. Like that is, it gives me this, it fills me with this energy that I have really never experienced before. It is amazing. Like even now, this is my passion. Like making a difference in the world, or just like teaching, or whatever you can call it, but I love it. I feel very, very excited about it. So really finding about when you're in your flow. Another thing that excites me is when I'm working on my software. I'm going to sound totally geeky to you. I'm sitting in the line in front of my laptop, really imagining how the software is going to function and testing it. And really, I'm in my creative flow. It's a creative process to create software. I totally forget about Facebook or Agung or all of those things when I'm doing that. So what I want you to find out for yourself is, what is it that you're passionate about? And what is the point of doing something else that you're not passionate about? So how many of you have done things or still do things that you're not passionate about? I know I do. Come on, be truthful. Yes, we all do that, right? Because there are things that we got to do sometimes that are boring, but they still must be done. So I want to talk, and so here, I loved it. This is something I found online. Passion plus purpose is profit, right? In the business, that's what a lot of people are talking about. That when you're running your business from that passion, that business is going to be successful. There is no stopping that business when you put your passion in it. But I want to bring another ingredient into this, which is pleasure. So what happens when we put passion, purpose, and pleasure together? Then it's not just the profits in the business, your life becomes amazing as well. So I know many people like one of my friends, she's like a multimillionaire. She called me the other day. She's from San Francisco. She's like, you know, I have gotten it all. She has an amazing kid, an amazing husband, and a lot of money in the bank. And she renovates houses. But she's still feeling empty inside. She still is not feeling so good. And so I started to ask her questions. She's like, I don't feel happy. I don't want to get out of bed. So she's passionate about what she was doing, right? She was like, yeah, I love it. I love renovating houses. She was making her money, but she wasn't having fun. Maybe she's not aligned to her purpose. I don't know that yet. I need to have more conversations. But that's the thing. You can have a lot of profit in your business, but what about your life? You also want to be having pleasure and fun and joy in your life. Having profit in life. How would that be, right? So, as I said here, when you're having pleasure, you're inspired. You run your business from the place of inspiration. To me, that's what it comes to, you know, the more inspired you are. So some mornings I wake up, I have something that I've been thinking about for days, things are not moving. And one morning I would wake up and I would have that answer. I would be inspired and I just go and start writing or start creating. Otherwise, I just don't do anything. I mean, I just have fun. So you could sit in front of your laptop for 10 hours a day and not do anything. Has that happened to you? Anybody? You're sitting in front of your laptop and getting nothing done. And you can be spending 10 minutes when you're inspired and you get things moving. Things are just happening when you're in that flow. When you are energized, motivated, feeling awesome, feeling inspired, and you're loving yourself and your life, and your business, of course, and your kids, and your partner. A lot of people to love. So what I want to talk about is designing your life consciously. So I'm going to give out some paper here. Yeah, please would you help me? So here, please pass on the pens and papers. So while the papers and the pens are being passed around, here is what I would love for you to do. Make a list of 5 to 10 things where you spend most of your time and see what are those things that are giving you pleasure and what are those things that are not giving you pleasure. So let's start there. Just make like 2 lists. So what is it that is giving you energy where you feel great? And it could be in your life or it could be in your business. It doesn't matter. So let's say you go diving, it gives you energy, you feel great. I go dancing, it gives me energy, I feel great. You need some pens, guys?
More pens?
There are more pens. So everybody has a pen and a paper? Yes, we will find. Can you see if you find some more paper and pen, please? Thank you. Maybe you can cut it in half. So 2 lists, what is giving you pleasure and what is not giving you pleasure. Right on. Go ahead and write that down as well. Yeah. I like the scientific approach. And now you can start to look at your things, the list of things that are not giving you pleasure or they're taking your energy away. So for example, driving my kids to school takes my energy away. So once you have figured out your list that you do not like to do, or that are not giving you fun or joy, or that are like making you empty, I want you to think about, here are 3 options. You can drop it from your life. You can cut it out right now. I am never driving again. You can delegate it, like he said. He doesn't like driving. He delegates it to Grab car. I'm not driving in Bali. You can add something to it so it tastes better or it feels better. And this is really an interesting one because in business, we always have to do things maybe that you're not able to delegate to anybody or that creative. So like, for example, I don't like driving. I looked for a driver. I didn't get any. So what I started to do, when I'm driving my kids to school, I play games, we sing, we play games, we talk. We have a lot of fun. So it's become a bonding time between me and my kids. When I'm coming back, I started to listen to audiobooks. And that was really, for me, it felt like my value of learning and growth was being met. And I was having focused time of 30 minutes to listen to an amazing book on Audible. No, I'm in the car, not in the motorbike. Yeah, I'm in the car. I'm from India. Bali's easy driving. Piece of cake in Bali. Just kidding. So everybody has that? Who hasn't done it? Who's still working on it? So now you're taking so the second part of this activity is what you're not liking, you're doing one of those 3 things. You're either crossing it, or you're figuring out who you're going to delegate this to, or you're figuring out how you're going to make yourself feel better about doing the same thing. And once you have done that, you're going to look at the things that are giving you pleasure. And pick 1 or 2 things and make a commitment to yourself for doing more of that in your life. So maybe circle out some things that you will do more of. So this is not my chart, but I love it. This is about raising our vibration. And as I was saying in the last one, so when you're designing your life consciously, you want to raise your vibration. Now, what does that mean? We're in Bali, there's Ubudians around here, we're talking about vibration all the time. But to me, vibration means when we are again in that state of feeling good, feeling joyous, feeling pleasure, having fun, not feeling empty or blah or like life is not worth it. And it takes practice. It doesn't happen on its own. That is something I want to remind you of. Whether it's business, whether it's life, things happen that are not in our control, right? And when things are not in our control, how can you be down here but consciously raise your vibration again high? So that's the chart. The second thing here is focusing on your strengths. So I'm going to share my sister's story with you. She's going to kill me, but she's not here, so it doesn't matter. So my sister hates public speaking. She will never do what I'm doing. Like, we're totally opposite. Like, she started a really amazing business. This business is for Indian women who are out of jobs. who basically leave jobs to take care of their family and now they want to get back to workplace. It's to help them get jobs. It's amazing business. There is social responsibility. Companies are loving it. But she decided to close it because she's like, I am not doing public speaking. So I was talking to, I'm talking to my sister and I sent her this book and it talked about focusing on your strengths. Right after she read few pages of this book, and she was kind of really connecting with herself and looking at her own strengths, instead of, because all her life, she has looked at her weakness. Her weakness is she's not a public speaker in her mind, right? But what happens when you forget about your weakness, when you actually focus on your strengths? She has so many, she's an amazingly creative person. She just does amazing, amazing stuff. But all her life, and this was put into her brain by her teachers. Because her teacher maybe one day said, you're just a horrible speaker or whatever, when she was 10. I have no idea. But most likely it was put into her mind when she was little, that she's not a good speaker. Or she would never be successful, or any of these ideas. You know, they're all coming from, these are all from before. They're not ours. But, so here is what happened, just to finish that story. So she was focusing on her strengths, and she got a call from change.org. You guys have heard of this organization. It's an international organization. And she was selected to be from like country of like 1.2 billion people, the 30 women in all of India to go through their change.org's training program, just by focusing on her strength. Isn't that amazing? Like what we can do when we start to focus on our strength instead of our weaknesses. So another really great tool I have found, which is actually a tool by Genius U. They're not paying me to say this, but I actually love the, what is the test called again? I've forgotten, but I did the test and it's really amazing. Find your genius. Wealth dynamics test, yes. And it helps you figure out, that really helped me. So I answered all these bunch of questions and I realized I'm a creator. I'm like, wow, yes, of course I'm a creator. That's what I do. And it really helped me sort of get connected to that because I always doubted it in my mind. So it's a tool to figure out what are your strengths. And when you're creating a team in your business, you can find people who have other strengths to complement you instead of you having to do it all. So that's what I mean by focusing on your strengths. And the last two, we did it already. So these 4 things in my mind really helps you design your life and your business and be conscious and mindful about it. So can I have everybody here in this room make a commitment to start designing your life consciously from now on? Please? Yes! Hell yes. So this chart, I'm happy to send it to you, but you can take a quick look at it. What raises your vibration and what brings your vibration down? And yeah, I just love it. And of course, in Bali, we are all in a very high vibration. I must say that. Yes, if you want to take a picture of it, go ahead and take a picture of it. You can refer to it if you want. I love it. I pretty much do all of the one on the left side. That really helps me bring my vibration up when I go into those business blues. So I just want to say one thing about guilt. So I was running a workshop just last weekend, and it was a workshop about living a life of pleasure. And there was a woman in this workshop, and she says, you know, anytime I take time out for myself, I feel guilty. So, and I felt guilty too in my life. This has been a big, hard conditioning change that I've had to do about feeling guilty. And I still freaking do. I still freaking feel guilty. When I am not doing what I should be doing, and I'm going to talk about that should in a moment, I feel guilty. So it is so important to be conscious of your guilt and know when your guilt is arising so you can deal with it. So it's not about feeling guilty. We all feel guilty. It's the matter of recognizing when you're feeling guilty, accepting yourself just the way you are, and sort of maybe talking to your guilt, saying, thank you, I don't need you. Bye-bye. So you can really, that really helps bringing the vibration higher. Any questions on this so far? Oh,
Wine on the left-hand side.
sorry.
Can we have wine?
So here is the deal. Here, guys, I have a suggestion. Here is what I want you to do. You can create this chart for yourself. This is an example. Figure it out for yourself. How is it that you raise your vibration? I mean, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about consciously designing your life. And if in your life, this is one example, right? You can create this for yourself. I have my own chart that looks similar to this, but not exactly. There are many more things in my chart on the left side and on the right side. So find it out for yourself in your life. What is, like for example, it is not here, but this happens to me when I hang out with people who complain. It really brings my vibration down. So, yes? Yeah, so let's not spend time on Bali expat community. Yeah. Yes, I don't. So exactly, that's what I am talking about. Yeah. Why do not do, like television is not in this list, but it's my list. I have not owned a TV in 20 years, and I do not intend to own one. I am very, very happy without television.
It's not so bad now because you can actually download without you watch when you want. And
Netflix?
when you want. So
Yeah.
it's like quality drama, quality documentary. You don't have the other crap that goes with it.
Exactly. So what I'm trying to say is figure it out for yourself, what this chart is for you. Make sense? So this is your exercise for tonight, guys. Not for right now, but tonight I want you to go home and, or maybe after we finish talking, take the same paper and write down what is raising your vibration and what is lowering your vibration. What kind of people you hang out with, then you feel high. I love it when I hang out with inspiring people. I love hanging out with Petra and Diane, because every time I hang out with them, they inspire me to do something, to create something new, or I don't know, just it's inspiring. And I love that. So figure out what kind of people you want to hang out with. Okay, so you have a homework for tonight. A fun homework, of course. Here are some. Sorry, home play. Great. So these are 7 keys to success. Self-care, a morning routine, and possibly an evening routine. How many of you here have a morning routine? I love it. Beautiful. Yeah, I have a morning routine. And there was a time when I didn't have one. And I'm realizing how important it is to have a morning routine for me. I wake up, I meditate. I do my oil pulling. This is all. Talk to me about this later if you have any questions about my morning routine. Yeah, I drink my lime water. I do some yoga. If I do not do these things, my day is not so good. And sometimes it happens that we get out, we deviate. And I have really consistently noticed that then my day is kind of blah, not so good. So it's so important for me to have a self-care routine. Proper sleep and nutrition. I put it there because this is one of the things that I am trying to do myself. But it's so important. The second one is super, super amazing. So when I was a programmer, that was a long time ago, and at that time I didn't know this whole idea of a subconscious mind. But what I remember is that I would be trying to solve a programming problem. I would be thinking about it as I went to bed, and in the morning I would have the answer. Isn't that amazing? And this is such an important trick for your business. When you're stuck somewhere, so think about that problem as you're sleeping in a high vibrational state, and ask your intuition, subconscious mind, your higher self, whatever you want to call it, for direction. And I promise you, you will have your answer. It works beautifully. Allow for possibilities. So there was another talk I had done here, and I had said, a lot of ideas can come in the shower, when you're sitting on the toilet, when you're swimming. Like, they can come at the weirdest moments when you're not expecting them. Because a lot of business running is about creativity, right? And the creative ideas come when they want to come. And if you do not catch your creative ideas, they're going to run away and go to somebody else. So it's really important to be in tune with those ideas as they come to you. So I always keep this little book, or sometimes I forget it, then I write it on a piece of paper, or I record it in my phone when a cool idea arises. And of course, you don't have to implement on all of those ideas, because that could be overwhelming, but you can pick the best. But ideas and keeping that flow of ideas and creativity is super, super important for a business. I love the fourth one. So how many of you put this pressure on you? I need to do this. I should do this. I must do this. What about if you changed how you said that? And I said, I could do it. Today morning I woke up. I could go for a walk. I could run. I could swim. That opens up possibilities. Instead of saying, I must do it. I must put pressure on ourselves. I could opens up to pleasure. It's like, what is the pleasurable activity that I want to do today? I can just dance. So I want to, I could, I would like to is a much easier way. You're being easy on yourself. And then taking inspired action. What is inspiring you today? So this is something that I do a lot. I wake up in the morning and I say, what is it that I want to create today? And it works really well when I'm in that high vibrational state. I flow. I work for 2 hours and I'm done. Then I can play the rest of the time. But sometimes when I'm in the low vibrational state, it just doesn't flow. I sit in front of my laptop and nothing flows. So it's so important to take inspired action. Not just because you have to, because you want to. You are inspired. And do things that inspire you. So like reading a book that inspires you for a little bit, listening to some music, or anything that gives you, maybe watching some inspirational videos, listening to a podcast, whatever it is that inspires you, I do it pretty much every day for about 10 to 15 minutes. I would open up a book. I have a bunch of books that I love, and I would read. But you could do whatever it is that feels good to you. And of course, the devices, you all know it. I just had to put it there. We all know it, but we don't do it, right? So but we could turn off the devices for a few hours in a day. And the last one is my favorite. I do make a to-do list for myself, but at the same time, I like to go with where my heart is and where my mind is. So sometimes it's in the to-do list, do a Facebook post, but I'm like, whatever, I don't want to do a Facebook post. I want to do this instead. So that's what I do. And I know there are some die-hard business coaches who would hate me for saying this because some business coaches are like, no, you must do this every day. This is how a business is successful. But I beg to differ. For me, I feel like the businesses are more successful when we are in our flow, when we are going with what we are most inspired to do. I literally created an online course. Like one Sunday, I was in Ubud dancing, and this idea came to me to create an online course to help people have a life full of pleasure. Like similar to this talk, but there's way more content in it. And I guess this idea came to me, and I literally started working on it next day, and I was so inspired. It just flew right out of me. It was amazing. And then there are other times when I'm sitting there freaking thinking about it and nothing is flowing. So when things are flowing, when you're in that high vibration, things just become easy. And then we don't have to work those 80-hour days that some business coaches want us to work. You can just work a little bit and still do this, still have the same kinds of profits and still have a life. Making sense, guys? I hope I'm not putting you to sleep. So, less time working and more time playing. That's what I believe in. So, this is the first app. I don't know how many of you here were you here for Haley's talks few maybe a month ago. And there was an app. You know, I am really bad with social media. I'm going to admit that. So I really have to stop looking at it. And I started to use this app. It's called Grow Tree app. When you're growing this tree, you cannot go to Facebook or YouTube. And you just do what you need to do. And it is amazing. And you can add other apps that distract you to this as well. So that's something I would highly recommend looking at. Because it's a Chrome extension, and you can just install it on your Chrome, and then you can just sort of say, I'm growing this tree for 30 minutes. So for 30 minutes, you're not going to Facebook or YouTube or any of these sites that you do not want to go to. Yeah. And that is so distracting. Yeah. I also do another thing that I have my phone on Do Not Disturb. So I do not get distracted by the WhatsApp dings or the Facebook dings and or the email dings, because it's crazy. It's very distracting. And we are so tempted to then look at what's going on. Who messaged me? Who emailed me? Or
I've only got one friend who's complained. Mine's always on silent, and then it forgets to turn it on.
yeah.
Check it once a day.
That's good. Yeah. So the next one is get to know your work pattern. Does anybody know what I'm talking about here? Work pattern? It's a kind of like knowing how you work. Like, what time of the day are you most productive? What time of your day? Yes. Yeah. So knowing your own rhythms. Because some people are like owls. They're so awake at night. And some people are most fresh in the mornings. Some people like to take naps after lunch. Some people don't. So it all comes down to knowing yourself. Not what somebody else is doing. So somebody else is taking a nap, so I'm going to take a nap too. Not that. Know what is working for you. And change your workspace often. So I get bored. I work from home. I have a beautiful garden, and I love it. But still, it gets boring after a while. So today when I was working on this presentation, I was going between my dining room table to the couch to the bedroom because I wanted the ideas to flow. And I just had to keep on moving. In between, I did some dancing, and I'm going to come to that in a moment. So really finding out what is your productivity peak. And I'm going to show you this body clock that I love. Can you read this? So this is a body clock. And it talks about, this is just, again, we're all different, but this is in general, which organ of the body is active at what time. And if you look at it, 9 to 11, we are most active. We have our mental powers are activated. And in the afternoon, 3 to 5. But it's 9 to 11 is super, super important. So if you are not using your mental capacity between 9 to 11, you might be wasting some of your time. Or maybe when you're most active, so you got to figure out when are you most creative, because there is another time, for example, when you're chilling out and relaxing, you are perhaps being creative. When you're socializing or flirting, perhaps you're creating connections with people for your business, right? Because all of that is needed for business. So think about, perhaps you could just sit in front of your computer for 4 hours a day and get most of the stuff done. And the rest of the time, you're doing other things. Make sense, guys? Yeah? So I would highly recommend, maybe this is your body clock, or maybe your body clock is a little bit different, but learn it for yourself. What works for you? When is the best time for you to do what? And it can really work wonders. Yeah, this is one of my favorite things. Sometimes we just got to stop what we are doing. So the other day, I was working on my software. I was just bored of testing it, bored out of my mind. Kids came home, and I was like still trying to work because I had a deadline for the next day. Finally, they're like, "Mama, let's go swimming." I'm like, "No, I need to work." "Let's go swimming, Mama." I was like, "Fine, let it forget about the work. I'm just going to go swim." And we had such a good fun. Like 30 minutes we were playing. I came out of the pool, and the work that I had been trying to finish for 2 hours or 3 hours, I finished it in 15 minutes. How amazing is that? You know what I'm talking about, right? So it's super important to stop sometimes. Stop when you're not making progress, when you're not feeling excited, when you're not having fun, when you're feeling guilty, when you want to do something else. Just stop and do something else. It's your life and your rules. That's the good thing about having your own business. You don't have to answer to anybody else but to yourself. So you can have fun whenever you want to. I love that. Seriously. It's just amazing. I love this one. When you keep checking social media, that means you're bored. And you really got to stop and just go for a walk or something. And here is a list of some things that can help you. And we're going to take a break right now and try one of these things. So these are just some ideas. So how about, we've been sitting for a while, guys. Let's get up, stretch it out, and we're going to do a little movement. Practice taking a break. So you guys want me to play one of my favorite songs? Fun Indian songs?
No.
Oh, come on, Dave.
Go on, I'll dance first. Whatever you
Come on. It's going to be so much fun. Then you can go. Have some fun, guys. Get into this completely. What?
Increase the volume. Oh, very nice to meet you. Yeah. Bye. Come on, everyone. Yeah. Uh-oh. Nggak bisa suaranya. Suaranya nggak bisa digedein dikit, Pak.
Jangan nggak gede nih.
Ini gede dulu.
Kabel itu yang kabel di pantat.
Maybe we can increase the volume here on the.
No, this is high.
This the highest.
He has to increase it.
Yeah. This one. That's 260. That's the maximum.
Bisa takutnya lubang kopi ini dia agak mukul. Bisa keras jadi bisa pelan ini.
Yoga. Yoga moves. Whatever you feel like doing. This is one of the things I do. Anytime I'm here on energy, I put the music on. My background music. You guys. Woo! Thank you. Thank you for participating. So, this was it. I energized. I know I do. I feel amazing. So I do this a lot. Whenever I feel low. And again, this is my go-to trick. You can have something else that you love. Another one of mine is to go swim in the ocean. Anytime I'm tired, I just go in. An ocean really energizes me. And when you're energized, when you're in that high vibration, you really don't have to work too hard. That I can promise you. Because the ideas flow, you're super productive. And I did say hugs and kisses, and you can fill the dots. Anything. Yeah, if you have a partner, it can be really amazing to just take a break and have a quickie in between. There's no kids here, so I can say that. So these are just some personal tricks. I've been sharing them already. So the first one is really good because I have trouble sleeping when I have too much on my mind. So what I started to do was I started to write down things before I would go to bed. It's like, okay, I know this is what I have to do tomorrow, so I can just sleep peacefully. So that is a good one if you have trouble sleeping. I know a lot of the business owners do. And if you have trouble sleeping, another thing to do is to do like a gentle yin yoga or child's pose or something like that, because that can really help. And when I wake up, then I always, this is like, what do I want to do today? And it feels so good. It's like going day by day, like not having, it's kind of like taking a big, huge problem and breaking it into smaller things. Like, how do I want today to look like? This could be the last day of my life. How do I want it to look like? This could be the last year of my life. What do I want this year to look like? Because you see, we get too caught up in the future. So really, this brings us back to this moment, this today. What does today need to look like? Yeah, I'm meditating. I try my best to meditate, and the ideas are just flowing in at that time. Yeah, and the last one, I have a self-care day. I just started it. I was really going deep into business blues for some time, for a few days, and I was like, this is not good. I was feeling stressed out. My shoulders were really tired. So that week I decided every Wednesday, I'm gonna just have a self-care day where I go get a massage or I go for a swim or just do the things that are really for me, not for anybody else. So that's all I wanted to share with you today. I have no idea what time it is, but I'm sure it's perfect time. Is that okay? So, any questions? And I would love for you, I know a lot of you here, so thank you for coming and supporting me. And if I don't know you, I would love to keep in touch. So this is my email and my Facebook. And any questions?
Yeah. So any questions, everyone? Please don't be
Come
shy.
on. Yeah. Absolutely.
That's often where I find the most pleasure in being in that space is that I meet people I wouldn't have imagined or have conversations I wouldn't have imagined, you know, because I'm not forcing it. It's just you're drawing people into your space who really want to really engage in the same on the same flow, if you like, or whatever it is that you're really working on. So that's another piece. It's not always on your own, is it?
Thank you so much for saying that. That's where the magic happens, right? When we are in that state, the manifestations happen. People come into our lives and we start to flow. Absolutely. So thank you for saying that.
I have my own company to promote musicians, and sometimes I'm stressed because I know I have to do a lot of things, and yeah, like, and I push myself, like I have to do this and that, and if I don't do that, then I don't get more sales or things like that. So any advice, like, to stop that?
I think the biggest thing I can say is really raising that vibration, because you're in that, as April just said, when you're in that high state of vibration and when you're taking care of yourself, you're attracting that kind of people and situations to help you make your business even more successful. So let's say if you're taking care of yourself and if you're just valuing yourself, you might start to get more high paying clients, for example. You know, so you don't have to then rush after every deal. That's one thing that could happen. So really making time in your life about, again, look what the 3 things that I had said earlier, either dropping it from your things that you're doing, either delegating it to somebody else, like finding a partner or some team member, or perhaps shifting the state or adding something to it that it becomes more pleasurable. But really finding time to raise your vibration and to have some pleasure. Yeah. And you know, if you want, we can talk, have a personal conversation about, yeah, I'm happy to help.
Any more questions?
Well, before you quit your job, when you feel that you're stuck in that job and you believe that there's another thing that will make me happy, for example, say diving. I believe that after I quit my job and I become diving instructor, blah, 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 and I will be happy. But once after you quit your job and then you're doing it and eventually it's not what you thought that it would be, like you lost you're losing something that you thought you believe or you knew about yourself. That what else making me happy? Something like that. So how do you say about that?
So the thing is that we all are evolving continuously, right? And sometimes it's trial and error. And I know for myself, I have gone through some different stages of evolving, like major growth periods in my life. And perhaps there is a stage in your life, maybe diving feels really amazing, that's the purpose and that's the passion. But perhaps after some time when you have grown, it doesn't feel like that. To me, it's important when you're really following. Let's say if you have a regular job, the most important thing that stresses out people is lack of money, right? So if you have a job and if you want to quit it and do something else, I would spend some time and create some savings. So you feel secured in going and trying out these different things. And at the same time, get to know yourself so much. So let's say you went to diving. Did you need to do diving for 5 years to figure out it wasn't your purpose and passion? Or could you figure that out in 6 months or 3 months? So this is the thing about really observing yourself and getting to know yourself so much at every state. So you're continuously asking yourself the question, instead of going completely into something for 5 years and then sort of saying, oh, this is not me. Does it make sense? Yeah. So basically 2 things, just to recap it, to have some sort of backup plan, so you feel supported yourself. And the second thing is to really, even if you feel that you're following your passion, your purpose, is still asking yourself the question, all the time. Is it really true? So that's makes sense? Helpful? Anybody else?
Yeah, I think just touching on that, we take ourselves wherever we go. So I'm sorry, I don't know your name. Chitra. The happiness comes from within before. You don't look for the diving to make you happy. So it is raising that vibration is the most important thing you can do. So become aligned with that within yourself, and then you move forward into what you want to do. It will fulfill you even more. But it may be a 6-month thing anyway. But and you may say, hey, I want to do this. So you bring yourself up to that and you feel good within yourself, and then you move towards that. But if you're looking to go, I'm going to do diving to make me happy, that's not what's going to fulfill you.
Yeah, thank you for saying that. That is such an important point, that it's the happiness it's coming from within you, right? Yeah, the fulfillment, the happiness, the deep inner happiness comes from inside us. But when we are spending time in doing some activity, it heightens, it really helps us with that. Like for example, yeah, if you're doing something that is making you, it brings excitement more than happiness. It's like, wow, I am excited about today because I'm gonna go diving. Yeah. Anybody else?
Anybody else who have questions?
There.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for the chance. You said that we need to, let's say, for example, when we are doing our job and we got stuck there, we felt that we were not able to continue. We just sit there for 3 hours and we can escape. We could escape by doing something else, which is fun. Could we just do something like this? For example, when we got bored, and we just like maybe leave it for a while, not kind of maybe 3 hours like what you did, just like maybe a few minutes. For example, when I type like this in before my laptop, and then I go to the beach for a while and then come back. That something works to me instead of yeah. I mean, which one do you prefer? It's depending on the persons or.
No, that's what I was totally talking about, taking mini breaks. Just a 5-minute break can make a huge difference in that productivity level. That's what I was talking about. So you can decide for yourself what works for you. For some people, it could be a 2-minute break. For some people, it could be a 30-minute break. So because we're all different, right? So that is why the first important step is to know yourself. What is it that's working for you? So maybe for you, that it works for me. If I'm stuck in something, if I go into the ocean, my mind somehow lights up. And I can really be more productive after that. Or if I do a little bit of dancing, my mind lights up again. Then I can be even more productive after. And if I'm not productive, then I really let it go. I let it go for half an hour. Sometimes I don't come back to it for a day, and I do something completely different. So it really depends on, so what the point that I've been making is that don't push yourself. Really get aligned with your own flow that's inside you. What is it that you feel like doing? Because the more you go with the flow, the more you take that inspired action that's aligned with your flow, easier it becomes to be productive. Make sense? Thank you.
So maybe we're taking one more questions, or the questions from the gentleman over there is the last question for today.
Anybody else?
Anybody else interested to express their mind?
Well, thank you so much.
Okay.
Really enjoyed talking to you guys.
Thank you. Thank you, Anshu, and thank you, everyone. This is a very mind-stimulating topic and very inspiring. And I suppose that everyone here can go home with some inspiration of how to increase our vibrations so that we can create a stronger purpose and also have a burning passions and how to run our business with pleasures. Yeah. So thank you everyone for coming here. And next week we're going to have a guest speaker who's going to talk about how to use our LinkedIn profile like a pro. And yes, enjoy your time here and have a pleasant evening. Thank you.
Thank you.